Now, this is a very important point. The word from is vital to an accurate understanding of this statement. Now, let me tell you my own personal experience. I had an individual come to me after I had taught on the subject of the rapture, and I didn't bring out this particular point at that time, and he challenged me on my position. He was actually a friend of mine who held to the other position, so we can be friends and disagree. I hope we all understand that. But as we were talking, he said to me, he said, the Bible teaches that we are going to be protected. We're going to be guarded. And when Jesus said He would keep you from the hour of trial, what He was talking about is that He would protect you through the tribulation period. And although I hadn't touched on the point, I said, oh no, my friend, you are wrong on this point in particular. Because I knew the meaning of the word, the Greek word, and he apparently was ignorant of it. The Greek word that's translated from is the preposition ek, ek. And the preposition ek means always out of. Out of. Not in the midst of, but it means out of. Let me give you a couple of examples from words that we have taken over into English from the Greek. Think of the word eccentric. Eccentric. That's two Greek words, ek and centron. It means simply out of center. So you see an eccentric person. Well, that person's out of center. Just a little bit off balance. Ecclesia is another word that we have brought into the English language without really translating it. That is the term that's used in the New Testament that's translated church. Ecclesia. And the word means, the two words together mean those who have been called out. The called out assembly. So in other words, the word ek, the preposition ek, always means out of. It never means in the midst of. Jesus said, I will keep you out of the hour of trial, which shall come to test those who dwell upon the earth. I will keep you out of it. Now to me, that is very, very clear. I will keep you out of it. But we must go on to one other passage. And this passage is found in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, the first 8 verses. And this is the one that I want you to be patient and really work through with me, because I think that this is the clearest statement in the New Testament as to the timing in relation to the tribulation of the rapture. But because of a faulty translation, this passage has been overlooked and to a large degree greatly perplexing to many people. But if we translate it properly, it speaks so clearly about the timing of the rapture in relation to the Great Tribulation. Let me read you the first 8 verses of the 2nd chapter of 2 Thessalonians. Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to Him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of the Lord had come. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Do you not remember that when I was with you, I told you these things? And now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. Now, let's work through this passage together. Paul says to them that he wants to speak to them about the coming of the Lord and our gathering together to Him. Remember, this is the second epistle to the Thessalonians. We've already read from the first epistle. And what did he talk to them about in the first epistle? He talked about them being gathered together to the Lord. So what's he talking to them about right now? He's saying, I want to talk to you about the coming of Jesus and our gathering together. I want to talk to you about the rapture. That's what he's saying to them. That's what he's addressing. That's the issue of the text. Now, notice what he says. He says, let no one deceive you as though the day of Christ had come, or the day of the Lord is actually a more accurate translation. And the day of the Lord is an Old Testament term for the tribulation period. You find it in Isaiah 13:6, Joel 2:1, Amos 5:18, Zephaniah 1:7, verse 14 and 15. All of these places use this term, the day of the Lord, to describe what we call the tribulation period. So Paul says, don't be led away by anyone, whether it is by word or spirit or letter, as though the day of the Lord had come. Don't be concerned that the tribulation period has come. That's what he's saying. And now listen to what he says. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away come first. Now this is where I believe the translators of our Bible made a mistake. And in making the mistake that they made, they have caused real uncertainty about this subject. This word falling away implies, or at least is interpreted, to be referring to the great apostasy that is going to come, the church departing from the faith. The Greek scholar Kenneth Wuest, he said this. He said the words falling away are an interpretation of the Greek, not a translation. You understand what he's saying? He said falling away is an interpretation of the Greek. It's not a translation of the Greek. It's not an actual translation. In other words, when they came to translating this word, they had something in mind. They had already concluded what the word meant. So instead of interpreting the word literally, they translated it to mean what they believed was going to happen. So they translated the word as falling away. But not all the translators did that. And the English versions that precede the King James Version, each of them translated the word properly. They translated the word simply departure, because that's the actual meaning of the word. Miles Coverdale, William Tyndale, as well as the Geneva Bible, each of them translated this particular Greek word simply as departure or departing, because that is the actual meaning of the word apostasia. Now, that the word apostasia, from which we get our English word apostasy, that the word does not necessarily mean a departure from the faith, is clear by the fact that it is not used when a departure from the faith is clearly being spoken of. I find this fascinating. The word is not used when a departure from the faith is clearly being spoken of. An example of that would be in 1 Timothy 4:1. Paul said, in the last days some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. Excuse me. But they did not use the word apostasy. If the word apostasy means departure from the faith, falling away, then it would seem to me that they would have used that word there in that particular text. But not only that, in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 6, where the words falling away are the words that are translated, again, the Greek word is not apostasy. The Greek word is not apostasy. As a matter of fact, the word apostasia is only used twice in the entire Bible. It's used once here in Thessalonians, and it's used also in Acts. And in Acts, it's translated by the English word forsake. You see, the word apostasia simply means a departure.